Hello Parsbing, today I wanted to take a little time out to talk about a guy called George Watsky, an awesome person that you and I have the privilege of knowing. You met him for the first time at VidCon 2011, and after I saw him give performances and panels at VidCon 2012, I also had the privilege of going behind the scenes at his last international date here in England. Seeing him talk so passionately about touring in 2011 when he had only toured in the US made it even more special being a part of his performance in the last night of his first international tour. It's a little mini story arc that I wanted to mention because it's the kind of thing that PBFB has given me a unique perspective on. Sorry Future Bing, can I stop you there? I'd like to talk about my dad, who for over a year has been part of a band called No Man touring throughout the UK and Europe. Last year you saw them perform as part of a tour which was being filmed for a DVD, and just a couple of weeks ago this year you got to see them again rocking out Islington, and it was really quite fun. And these are a couple of the few times where our dad isn't our dad, he's actually a rock star, and it's so cool. Sorry Future Bing, but can I talk about Space Lab for a second? You see, Space Lab was this massive initiative to get experiments by school kids put on the International Space Station and streamed to the world, and it was so cool to be a part of it, even if I was only presenting the behind the scenes. And it wasn't until we actually made contact with the International Space Station and started receiving and sending that signal from space that I realized the gravity of the situation. Not only were we doing something that no other website had ever done before, but we were doing something that meant a lot to these kids and to everyone involved.
Everybody around the world, please consider joining the Planetary Society. We are all working together to know and appreciate our place in space for the betterment of humankind. That's me and you, even my old boss. Humankind, and especially Bing.
It was so cool to be a part of, and it not only highlighted how far I've come in terms of the professional work that I'm doing, but also how far YouTube has come and the internet as a platform for things like this to happen. We couldn't have done that a year ago. You couldn't have even imagined that happening a year ago. And actually, Future Bing, I'm gonna need to talk about working at Google for a second. You see, the last couple of weeks I've been doing contract work here in the London headquarters of YouTube and Google. And aside from the pay, which is nice, it's also been strangely rejuvenating. For the first time in a while, I've had a real job. Simple goals, structure, routine, co-workers, and it's actually been really, really enjoyable. And it's starting to make me think about the future in a completely different way to the way that you're thinking about the future. So I've had a couple of comments recently requesting that I make a video talking about my life and where I think it's going and what my goals are. My initial response was, really? I haven't done that enough already? PBFB is full of talking, and there will always be too much to talk about. So forgive me for taking the opportunity, like with this last couple of weeks at Google, to do something differently and trust that there will be far more talking on the horizon. I've also seen a lot of sad comments and tweets about how PBFB will be over relatively soon, and my only response is that it won't really be over. There will always be too much to talk about, and there was always going to be too much to fit into 2 years. So PBFB may end, but me talking about things and sharing my life is not going to end. So don't worry.